Hi guys, welcome to the Dramatology podcast. I'm covering my liberation notes in this episode. I watched this episode when it came out, but I think I was a little later than most people in the sense that Our Blues was also airing at that exact same time, in that exact same time slot. So if you were like a lot of people, you were either watching Our Blues and my liberation notes, or you were just watching Our Blues. And I was in the category of food that was just watching Our Blues, mainly because there was just so much hype around it, right? Everybody was watching it because it had big names in that drama, right? And so my liberation notes, I think I was like 2 episodes or 3 episodes behind everybody else, because I started at like when episode like 4 or so was coming out. So I wasn't on it immediately, but I didn't know that Ji-won is in this drama. So I think I recognized that from the cover, which, I mean, the cover doesn't really show her because it shows her with a lot of people are on the cover as well. So you don't immediately notice she's there. But I remember thinking, oh my god, that's Ji-won. I have to, if it's Ji-won, I have to see it, right? I mean, we've all watched that in like Descendants of the Sun, Fight My Way. So like, why not? Like, she's never disappointed. So I was like, okay, I'll check it out. And I mean, it was a drama that I was shocked by how much I liked it from the very beginning. The minute I watched the first 2 episodes, I knew I would love it. The minute I finished watching those 2 episodes, I had to go to my drama list to rate it and give it like a 9, right? Like, it was that good. I never give anybody a 10 at the beginning because dramas never go uphill, they always go downhill, right? Like, by episode 10, 11, that's really when like drama writers show you their skill, because that's usually when they have no more storyline and they just crash and burn the old plot, right? So I gave it a 9, right? Because one, it was unlike any other drama I had seen, similar to My Mister. And I mean, you can almost, like, if you watch My Mister, you can almost see that sense of it being like the same person that wrote it. But even then, it's very different from any drama that I had seen, right? It was hard to gauge or hard to tell where the drama was going from the beginning. I wasn't sure where the drama was going to take me, right? And that's a very good thing about a drama. Like, if I can't tell where drama is going, I feel like that's a plus, because most of the time, most dramas I've watched, right? And I've watched a lot. I've been watching dramas for a long time. Like, if I can tell where a drama is going, I know that I'm probably not going to like it, right? And so for most dramas, I can usually tell quite quickly how the drama is going to be, like where it's going, where the plot is going. And so unless they have really, really good just director work and acting and stuff, like, it's going to fall flat in some area, right? And so I tend to drop a lot of dramas because of that. So even though they start high, they never end high. They end kind of like low or midpoint, right? And so like I end up like DNFing a lot of dramas, as I don't finish a lot of dramas. But my liberation notes, when I first saw the first episode, I was praying to God that, oh my god, let this drama hold up till the final episodes. And I think the writers do a decent enough job. It still fumbles right about the end for me. Some people would disagree and be like, no, it's perfect all the way. But for me, it kind of fumbles in the final episodes, and I wasn't agreeing with everything that was going on at that point. But generally, well done. Like, very, very good drama. Very, like, unseen. I've never watched a drama like this. I think the closest drama that I think is kind of similar in a way is maybe Lost. But generally, most dramas aren't like this. And so, for most people, this drama can be very boring, right? It's a very... You have to be somewhere in the age group that kind of will get the themes that this drama is trying to explain. Although, I mean, if you think of Mi Jung's character, a character is written in such a way that if you're just like a shy person, you understand her and you relate to her, because she's very, very shy. But say Ki-jung and Chang-hee, they are characters that you only really get that experience if you're around their age group, right? In the sense that if you're like entering, like if you're like someone that is in the workforce, or someone that's like an adult, right? Or just becoming an adult, that kind of thing. You're the ones that will kind of get those characters more, right? Otherwise, you'll think they're just whiny, right? Because I can see my cousin, who is a lot younger, watching this drama, and she'll just be like, why are they so, like, the self-pity is too much. But for me, watching all 3 characters, there were points in which I could relate, and there were also points in which I could not relate. And maybe again, I'm not still in that age group that will really like, for example, Kijong's character, I stopped relating at some point. But maybe as I get older, I'll relate more. And so yeah, this drama is a drama that like it's very solemn, very low key, slice of life. There's not much going on, right? In terms of like actual like plot and like conflict, and like it's not so high in those kinds of things. The tension is not. I mean, they do a good job in like then there's tension. They make a good job of showing you that tension, but generally there's not much tension going on, right? And so you're just really watching characters go through life, having these embarrassing moments and good moments, bad moments, and so you're just supposed to follow along on their journey through life, right? As they try to get liberated from all these things that they basically don't like. And so yeah, the drama is a very solemn one, and it might be boring for some people, but for me, I think me and a lot of people, I think we enjoyed this drama very much because it really resonated. And this is kind of drama that you won't see something like this again in a long while. Like it's only some specific kind of writers that can like go into such detail, right? And this drama does a good job of all that. I applaud all the actors, actresses, and the writers. Everybody was just so well casted in this, and everybody did the job they were supposed to do. And so this was just was a success. It was very nice. If you've never listened to my podcast, there's spoilers in all this, so you need to, if you've not watched the drama and you don't like spoilers, you should probably exit now and just stop listening and like come back when you're done watching the drama, because I give away stuff. So spoiler alert. Yeah, so what is my liberation notes about? The title of the drama is interesting because, for me at least, I didn't get a sense of what the drama was about, right? Even when I saw the title and I saw the synopsis, I'm still like that, guys. But as time goes on, I kind of realize, what they're trying to show you, and, you get the sense also of where the name comes from the group, that Mi Jong and her band of introverts have formed, right? And so it's a very nice title. I like it because it alludes to like a journal of some sort, or like a diary, right? Where you're basically saying your thoughts. My liberation notes follows these 3 siblings, right? And basically life around them. The first elder sister, Kijong, who is unmarried and is looking for love. That's basically our whole plot. Like that's our whole story arc right there. She's looking for love, right? And then we have Chang-hee, is the middle kid that is like a lot of us in that he wants to be rich, right? He loves money, but yeah, who doesn't? And then we have Mi-jung, the last one, the quiet introvert, who feels like she's kind of living a life that, is unlovable. Like she has no real love in her life. And I guess in a way she's very similar to her sister in the sense that ours is just more general, in the sense that she just feels that like nobody loves her and she has this insecurity, right? And yeah, so our story follows these 3 siblings and all the life around them. And they are basically a pursuit to be liberated, even though, that if you ask them, that's not what they're trying to do. They're just trying to live their life. But for us, we can see that like they are going on a journey, right? And so we're supposed to follow along. These 3 siblings live in Sampo, right? Which is not like they don't live in Seoul, and they live far away enough that people always mention it, right? Obviously, Sampo is this like hick town, or I don't know, like they really make they take a second to mention it over and over again that like they don't live in Seoul, right? And this is a problem because it almost is the reason why they can't seem to fit in wherever they are. It seems to be part of why that is just like this is an issue, right? And our characters are basically struggling living in this sample with their family. They still live with their mom and dad, right? And not like everybody else, right? Everybody else lives in Seoul. They carry Starbucks cups in the morning, like like those girls and those people. And our characters are not like that, especially Mi Jung. Mi Jung is somebody that is, I think she's the not like other girls girl, the girl that doesn't fit in. She's not like her colleagues, right? And this is a problem because it's almost like she's going through puberty at an older age, because everything she experienced is something that I feel like a lot of people experience when they're in their teenage years in school. The popular crowd, the cliques, like you're not part of any of those groups, right? And you feel kind of left out, and that's kind of what Mi Jung feels, right? And because of how this drama is, right, Mr. Gu is already living in that house before the drama starts. And so, we know nothing about him, right? I mean, the one thing that was very interesting to me was just how they used to walk past each other. Like every character just walks past the other people they don't even look at each other sometimes. They just like walk past. And so like it's at some point that I think Mi Jung is just overwhelmed with this sense of, maybe, I don't know, I could never really place what her feelings were. I mean, in a sense, I guess she was just overwhelmed with this sense of not fitting in and, not having a place and just being unloved generally, that she goes to Mr. Gu, who is an alcoholic, right? And I have to say, there's something for the fact that Mr. Gu was an alcoholic, this was never a problem for Mi Jung, right? She never ever once chastised him or, nagged him about it, right? And I think that's one of the reasons why their relationship worked so well. It's almost like they understood each other deeply, right? Because I mean, it's very difficult for you not to tell an alcoholic that, oh my God, stop drinking, right? But Mi Jung, it's almost like she understood him despite his alcoholism. Like, alcoholism was not a problem for her, right? And so anyway, she goes to Mr. Gu, this guy that's drinking as always, and she's like, worship me. And guys, when I heard that, I was like, that feeling like when you see something and like you just get secondhand embarrassment. Like, that was me. I felt like my toes curl up, my fingers curling up. Like, the cringe was real for me. Like, I don't know how because of how the drama starts, like, they never make it seem like these two people talk. They never talk. These people are basically strangers that just live together, right? And she just goes up to him and she's like, worship me. Like, what? Like, so for me, I mean, I couldn't, and that was the moment where I was like, this drama is odd. Right? It's not going the way I expect it to go in any way, right? And I guess, I mean, I don't know what I expected, because I mean, the drama has to progress in some way, but that was a very cringe. Like, my hands were like balled tightly when she said that, right? But yeah, she says it, worship me, and that's basically how their relationship starts, right? I really enjoyed the relationship she had with Mr. Gu. Not that I would recommend such a person to anybody. Not that I'm saying like alcoholics are bad or anything, but like, alcoholism is a real problem, right? And that it's something that he needs help with, even to like the last episode after they meet up again, right? You still see all the bottles in his house. Like, they drink so much. I don't know how it's okay to drink that much. Like, there's no way your kidney is it your liver, I don't know, is like functioning well after like age 50 or something. Like, there's no way, right? But yeah, so I think the relationship was good because it really helps Mi Jung have somebody to talk to, which I think is part of our problem, right? And it's a problem with a lot of people that are shy, or a lot of people that, don't mix, that introverts. This is a problem they have. They get lonely a lot, right? And so they tend to also be people that end up falling into depression and stuff like that, just because, sometimes you just need someone to talk to. And Mr. Good becomes that person for her. And I mean, they talk. Oh my God, they talk so much, and it's lovely. They talk everything from nihilistic thoughts to existential. Like, it's like they're having full on existential crisis sometimes, and sometimes it's a very interesting relationship, but it works, right? That's what made it so beautiful, in that it works despite their differences, right? Mi Jung seems like this well put together girl, while Mr. Gu is like not well put together, right? And somehow they work, right? And I mean, it's not until the very end we see how like they meet. She basically saved his life, right? Without knowing. Because when she says get off, right? Remember, he was sleeping on the train. And she says get off. She's talking to her, drunk brother, right? But he also wakes up and he immediately, you guys know that feeling of like confusion when you get to a stop and you're like, what stop am I in? Like, should I be off the bus now? And you just run out. That's happened to me a few times, and I realized that I still have like 3 stops to go. But same thing, he gets off and leaves his phone behind. And that was basically what saves his life, right? Because they were waiting for him at the location that he was supposed to meet up with his, I don't know, colleague in like gang business. Like, she basically saves his life, and we see that moment where he sees her for the first time. And I mean, they never talk about it or anything, but I felt like it was a very deep moment without being like too, because I mean, I do sometimes hate like, dramas will like make them childhood friends. Always, like in K-drama, everybody is like, you met this person. They do it more in C-dramas, but K-dramas have started doing it too. Everybody met when they were younger, and that old, it's almost predestined kind of thing. But this one isn't so like that, in the sense that like he stays and decides to like live in that area, right? So it's not really predestined, more like just almost a coincidence. And I really like that little nugget that he added in there. And the thing I have to say with Mr. Goo's character is that they really did a good job. Like, I know I said it's like he's an alcoholic, but still they really did a good job at like showing you what depression kind of looks like, or something similar, in the sense that feeling of just not wanting to do anything, even to like take out a bottle that you've used, right? It's very true. Like, a lot of people that suffer from like this mental health issues, to do little things is a problem. I mean, I feel like I felt that way once in a while, like when I have exams coming up, right? And I know I haven't read, and I know it's almost like your brain knows you fail, right? And so you're like kind of avoiding reading by you're avoiding everything, right? And just like staying on your bed, right? So I've been in that situation where just to even like do laundry is a problem, right? And it feels like the biggest task when it's all just like putting clothes in a laundry and like pushing a button, right? And so they do a really good job of showing you how mental health really affects your daily life, right? And so he's almost like a machine that he gets up, goes to work, does the menial like work for the day with Mi Jung's dad, and he comes home and just so he doesn't have to think, he just drinks. And again, that's this like almost like clockwork. That way he doesn't have to think too much. And if he does, he drinks himself to sleep. So the drama did a really good job in showing you just how mental health issues, how it exhibits, right, in a person. But yeah, like if I had to rate characters and my rating of characters I liked, I would say Mi Jung is actually at the bottom for me. Right, which is interesting because she's more in my age group than say Chang-hee or Ki-jung, but I felt like I related more with the older siblings for various reasons. I also want to talk about Ki-jung, right, who is the eldest sister, because again, I think I'm ranking them almost by how much I relate to them. Chang-hee being the one I relate to the most, and Mi Jung being the one I related to the least. I feel like Ki-jung was, okay, I guess Chang-hee was also kind of like that, but I feel like Ki-jung is kind of like the comic relief in this show. In the sense that she's comical without trying. Her character, I don't think is meant to be comical, but she does a lot of things that just end up being funny, right? In the scene where she's talking to her friends about dating, and she's basically talking about like how she will never like date a single dad, and she turns and Taehoon is sitting right there with his daughter, and like everybody else on the table is like, oh my god, this is so embarrassing. Like that moment, right? Like you think, oh, she'll never do it again. But towards the end of the drama, again, she's sitting again with her friends, and she basically starts talking about how like she never wants to be 50, right? Because when she's 50, I need to just like half a corpse or something. Like she's being really, who she is. She has a running mouth, like her mouth just runs, right? And so she's saying that, and again, she turns, and there are these women that in their 50s looking at her like, what that? Like she's just like that kind of person, right? So her situations are not like, she's not being funny, but she puts herself in situations where she has no choice but to be funny, right? And so that's what I really loved about her character, in that she was comical without trying. And I know people like that they just talk and they like put their foot in their mouth, right? And Ki-jung is 100% like that. She just doesn't know when to not talk. But yeah, like Ki-jung is like a lot of girls when they're young, in the sense that they want, the most handsome, the most beautiful, the nicest, loving guy to just come and sweep them off their feet. And they don't want anything less, right? They will not take someone that's less handsome, right? We don't want anybody that's like less of anything. It has to be perfect when you're young, right? But the issue with Ki-jung is that she grows up till she's middle-aged with this idea, and so at some point she realizes, oh my god, I can no longer even attract those kind of guys, because I am now past the age group where everybody in my age group at this point is married. So if I haven't found something by now, it's most likely because everybody's married or they are from broken relationships, right? Like no one is going to be pristine that will be amazing and come and sweep me off my feet, right? And so, and our brother mentions this, right, when he's dissing her, because like those, like he always this is that they are closer in a bond, or not a bond, but I think they're closer in age, that they have a sense of like they can fight, in the sense that Changi doesn't really have that with Mijong, but he has that with Kijong, right? Because they are closer in age. But yeah, he mentions that fact that yeah, I mean, it's because when you were young, you expected the best, and any guy that was less than, you just dumped him like that. And I mean, a girl shouldn't have to compromise on our values, but the unfortunate thing is that for Kijong, yeah, the fact that she's not able to compromise has gotten her into the situation, right, where she's in this age and she's like, anybody that comes now, I'm just going to like love anybody regardless of his faults and everything, right? She's gotten to that point where she's kind of desperate in that she wants that love and wants that everything right now. She just wants to be married, wants everything, right? And unfortunately, like I said, she's very desperate about this, like in that scene where she's on the blind date, and the guy is like, oh, tell me about this story that I heard from a common friend they have, that, oh my God, you were talking about like this head or something like that. And she basically talks about how if her lover's head was going to be cut off, how she would run and catch it, make sure it doesn't fall to the ground. And like she's going on a tangent. Again, like I tell you, she's not trying to be funny. She just is. But basically her date is sitting there looking at her like, oh my God, who is this person? Like, because I mean, blind dates are kind of realistic in the sense that you're looking for a partner to share a life with, right? You have a set of conditions, and if the person meets this, you guys can probably get married. And it's not really about love. I don't think it's really, are you someone that can match my requirements, and I'll see if I can match yours, and if we match, we'll get married. So for him, he's probably thinking, okay, I'm gonna go out there and meet this girl. If she works out, like if she's okay-ish, let's get married. But Kijong is there sitting there talking about how like she'll carry a lover's like headless like head, and like I can feel almost he's like, what the hell is this girl, like what's she talking about, right? And I can feel his fear, and I poor guy, like I understood, and that's his fear, because even for a second I was like, what the hell is she saying? Can't she just be quiet for like a second? But yeah, again, I still understood what she was trying to say. She was trying to like talk about this undying, devoted, unfailing love that she will have for her partner. But again, that's not what the guy was there for, so she did not have to go into that much detail. But yeah, it's in the midst of this that she meets Taehoon, who is Mijung's co-worker, and she basically falls in love with him despite him being a single dad and everything, right? She's really into him. I was one of those people that I was pissed till the end that they stayed together, because I mean, this drama is 16 episodes. This is the kind of drama that I feel like if it was like 32 or something like that, like a longer drama, that's a love line that would not have lasted that long. Like they would have broken up before the end of the 32 episodes. But because it's 16 episodes, I guess they have to wrap it up nicely maybe. But Taehoon was not the guy for her. And people might disagree with this, but I am firm on this. Taehoon was not the right guy for her, because he had a lot of baggage. And I'm not just talking about his kid. I mean, and his kid is a brat, right? I don't know why the kid was so mad half of the time. Like, she made it seem like she hated her dad for, like, her being born or something. But not even that. The sister was also a problem. I'm a kind of person that I don't think you can separate family from a relationship. And I mean, this also is something that is more on what kind of culture like Korea is. Korea is a very community kind of culture, right? It's not individualistic based. If it was maybe in the US, I will understand, but she lives in Korea. This idea that she will marry someone like Taehoon and she won't be miserable. She'll be miserable because the sister doesn't like her and the daughter doesn't like her. Right, and she has to live in that world. But she's just so desperate for love that she's willing to take anything. And I mean, I don't know why, because I mean, I was team her boss, right? I love that boss. The minute they started talking, her boss got her in a way that nobody else seemed to. You remember the headless scene, like I was mentioning just now, right? That I just talked about. That's the scene that if she told her boss, and I feel like she told her boss a lot worse things, but that's the kind of thing that if she told her boss, he wouldn't find it weird, in the sense that he would be like, oh, okay. And he would give her advice. That's how amazing her boss was, right? And I think they had that chemistry that was, and I thought that's what they were going with it, because when the boss breaks up with his girlfriend, I was like, okay, maybe that's where they're going with it. And they don't go there. They just keep them together. And it pissed me off, because there was a moment that should have been the straw that breaks the camel's back. That's the moment where he thinks she's pregnant and he basically asks her, are you, And she's like, oh no, I know. And she tries to laugh it off. But I mean, you can tell this tone is of that like scene is very serious. And because he was like, oh yeah, oh thank God, or something like that, or thank goodness. And I'm like, what the hell? Like again, I get where he's coming from, but you can just tell he's obviously not ready for that. She is. She wants things like that, and she's not getting any younger. And I know she's like, oh, she doesn't mind, blah blah blah. But I feel like it's kind of saying that the more she stays in the relationship, should have kept being miserable just as time goes on or time passes by. It seemed like she wasn't willing, and the writers weren't willing to end it. Maybe they wanted to show that, that's some people just choose, that's someone's decision, and you just have to live with it. Because I mean, it seemed like they were alluding to the fact that she was going to dump him, or they were going to break up, because our divorced friend, mentions, marriage isn't everything, right? She's happy being single again. It seemed like, just from the way the setting was, that they would break up. But for some reason, it didn't happen. And I was kind of pissed about that. Because, I mean, Taehoon is not the only guy in the world. I know he's like amazing and tall and handsome and everything. But I mean, I don't know. He just wasn't it for her, right? But that was the one point that I was like, ugh, this pisses me off. And like, it really, really pissed me off. But I guess, not everybody's liberated. Not everybody has to be liberated at the end of the drama. Some people can still be, they're on their way to liberation. And I think Ki-jung is one of them. I like to believe that at some points, in the drama universe, they do break up. I would like to think that that's what happens, and she gets together with her boss. That's kind of like my fantasy, my happy ending in my head that I will stand by that because I just can't about the fact that they were still together at the end. It was really annoying. But yeah, moving on. I think this is my favorite character in the old drama, Chang-hee's character, because and I know this actor because he's the guy that acted with Jung So-min in Because This Is My First Life, and I think he's been in a few other things that I can't remember. I think he's played a psychopath once or something like that, but he's such a good actor because he seems to be able to portray whatever role you put him in, and just like in this drama, he's fantastic, right? I really felt his pain over his co-worker, right? Because we've all had that co-worker. Maybe you guys haven't. Or it doesn't have to be a co-worker. It can be like a classmate or something that's just annoying. Just the thought of them is annoying, right? You don't know why. Really, everything about them just pisses you off, right? Even the way they breathe. Right. And so I understood Chang-hee, and I have to give it up to this drama for not making Chang-hee's nemesis, if I can call her that. I'm talking about Jung Ha-reum, by the way, his colleague, for not making his colleague a male, because it's very easy for a drama to say, okay, you won't understand this because it's like a male on female relationship. That'd be easier for the writer to make her male so that it's easier for you to like understand our rivalry. But making her female was very interesting, and it was well done because I still believed he really hated her. That was how good it was, right? And Jung Ha-reum isn't, like, from my point of view, Jung Ha-reum isn't annoying, right? But and his friend mentions this, right, at some point, that like there's nothing wrong with her, that it's really just because she's rich, and that if you were also rich, you would like her or something of that sort. He mentions that, and Changi was pissed. But he needed to hear that, because for me, at least personally, Jung Ha wasn't annoying. She was not bad at all, right? She did something to like kind of icky, but it's something that, he was also planning on doing. But because, again, this fear of like losing money, right? He wasn't able to do it. When you're poor, like Chang-hee is, right? He's not insecure about it. He's very, very insecure in the sense that even his relationship is not able to succeed because of it. Because his girlfriend in the beginning, you can tell like she really likes him, right? And she would have been willing to stay with him, but Chang-hee is the kind of character that he's not willing to give room just because of this is insecurity, this self-esteem issue he has because he has no money. And I understand that because he's a guy. Girls don't feel this as much as guys do, but a guy that's getting up there in age doesn't feel like he's accomplished anything. He's very different from a girl. Society has different goals for boys and girls, and I think Ki-jung is the opposite flip side of this, because ours is about marriage and love and things like that, and his is about, having a car and stuff like that, right? So it's different, but still the idea of getting to a particular age and not having things everybody else in your age group has or what people expect you to have. And so his relationship suffers because of this, and he's very sensitive about that. And so when Jung Ha-reum she's basically just talking, like she's chatting, and being the girl she is, because she's confident. She has money and she's confident in herself. There's nothing that she's done wrong. I didn't think there was anything she'd done wrong, but for him, he's like, why is she, everything about her just pisses him off. And I understood that because it's coming from a place of insecurity of the fact that he doesn't have what she has. And his friend mentions that. And I love that the fact that they have him mention that, because it's true. There was nothing wrong with Jung Harum, I have to say. But yeah, his character arc was my favorite because a lot of things he experienced, I've experienced. There's a point where he mentions how when his mom dies, he was very active in trying to get his father remarried because he felt like, I think he said he woke up one day and was like, oh my God, what if I rolled with him in this house? And he was just so scared about that he like pushed his dad to get remarried, right? I understood that feeling. Like, it's a feeling of like, oh, I won't accomplish anything if I don't leave this house, right? And it's very understandable, right? Everything that he felt was very, very understandable. And I think he had to take his mom passing for him to really kind of get liberated, because his mom passing was that push he needed to leave the house, get his own convenience store finally, after years and years of, wanting such a thing, like wanting something of his own, being able to invest in a business, right? He's able to do all that after his mom passes, right? Although, he still isn't happy afterwards, right? We see scenes like that. Also with his girlfriend that I kind of disliked, right? I don't mean his first girlfriend, I mean his second one. The one that was with the guy that was in the hospice that was dying. But yeah, his character kind of still not happy even after he gets things that I guess should make him happy, right? And he's, like I said, his arc is the one I really related with the most, because at the end, we see him going to a place to get, I guess it's a workshop, and he mistakenly enters a room where they're talking about how to be a funeral director, right? And it's in that moment that I think it clicks to him that like this is where he should be. And it was very interesting to me because I feel like he's his character that was the most liberated at the end of this drama, because a funeral director is not a fancy job, right? It's not a job that people want to do. People associate death with very ominous things, right? So it's not something, you're not going to get praised for being a funeral director, right? People are going to avoid you. No one's going to want to marry their daughter to you, right? And it's not a money-making business, right? But he decides, despite it not being high paying or anything, it's seemingly where he wants to be. And I love that because I think he's the deepest thinker of all his siblings, right? And so him being the one to, have that epiphany of, okay, I think I should try this. Try and help lead people into, like, stay with people to their last moment and basically take care of them after they pass, right? It was almost I love that scene. That ending scene was very well done, and his character was complete. Like, his arc was complete with that scene. It was very well done, and I applaud the writers for his own arc. His arc was the best. Unlike his sister's, Ki-jung, her arc was awful. I'll keep saying it. Like, I just dislike it. I dislike that love arc. It was just off. And I feel like, I guess I have to talk about the mom, like the parents, because the mom seemingly being the one to hold them together was not what I was expecting. And I don't know if I believe it was her specifically that was holding them together, as opposed to just, it's almost like when something dramatic happens to you that you can kind of make a change. I think that's how I would explain that. Not so much as it's the mom, but the situation where the mom is gone changes the dynamic of that family. And that's how almost they are all able to break out, of that space, of that house, of Sampo, and go their separate ways. But the parents, you could tell where they got their personalities from, because both the mom and dad they were not talkatives, right? Despite the dad, that was very gloomy. Although, again, it was interesting because at the end, he mentions that, if you want to stay alone, it's okay, right? He says that, and I think he has a sense of, there's really nothing wrong with being alone, because I think for him, he's basically lived the life everybody expects of a man. He got married, had kids, took care of his kids, and that's it. But their dad never smiles till that moment. That was the first time he smiles, because I don't think he's really ever also been particularly happy. And I think he realizes that too, and he says it that, do what you want to do. Because all throughout, he's basically been telling them what they can or cannot do, especially Chang-hee. And so when he says that, it was this moment of, I think, also him realizing with the death of his wife that, things don't have to be like mine, that you don't have to live your life the way I lived it, right? Live your own life your own specific way and you'll be okay, you'll be fine. And I love that too, because it really showed his growth as a person. So yeah, I think I mentioned that I felt like it kind of lost strength, like the drama lost plot towards the ending. It was, I think I said that mostly because of, I wasn't a fan of Mr. Goo's character arc, so I think that's why it felt that way. A lot of the scenes were not, it didn't seem to fit the drama for me. It just, I don't know, it seemed off to me. And then I have to mention some of my favorite scenes in this drama, because there are a lot of scenes that are really, really well done. But one of my favorite scenes, right, is with Chang-hee. And it's the scene where he basically finds out that Mr. Go has this car, right? That was just a beautiful scene, like, because he's excitement and his just happiness of like seeing that car. He made me happy. I don't know that's how I'd feel if I ever saw such a car, but like he was like so happy. Interesting about that scene is that like the high of that car wears down. And that's the thing with money, right? Even when you have it, you realize that you're still the same person, right? As when you had like $5 in the bank, right? And so the drama does a good job of showing him. And I think that maybe that's why he ended up pivoting to being a funeral director, because I think he needed more meaning in his life, right? Worshipping money, his love of money was no longer sustaining him. And so he had to, go into something different. And so, yeah. Then another scene I really liked was the scene where Kijong challenges our brother and his friend that, okay, she's going to tell Taehoon how she feels, and if by chance it doesn't work out, they should come from afar and push her. That way she can pretend like she lost her memory or something like that, or something so stupid. I don't know how they thought the like that would end like, but basically like they push her, right, and she just her hand breaks, right, and like you see her get off the bus with tears. She's basically crying, and it was just, that whole scene was hilarious, because I was like, that it was just moments like that I really loved, that showed that family bond, that friendship that they all had, because they had some very good friends. Their friends weren't superficial. From their childhood friend, the girl that ended up dating Chang-hee, to Chang-hee's own friend in the village, right? That guy, I think he owns like a cafe or something like that. Everybody is just nuanced and, three-dimensional, and it was just overflowing with character. And so, yeah, this drama was excellently done. And I really enjoyed it. Even the OST was amazing. I have like 3 of the songs on my Spotify playlist. That's just how good everything about this drama is. And so yeah, I give it a very high rating, because you will not see a drama like this for a very, very long time. It's a drama that it's very solemn but doesn't make you sad. And it's amazing, and highly recommend. If you've not watched this drama, you guys need to go and watch. Like, you need to go and watch. It's very, very good. Yeah, so thank you guys for listening. This is the Dramasology podcast. You can follow me on Facebook, on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. Thank you guys for listening.